Hey, it's Tina Forsyth here. I want to talk about how you can pay your team, right? And the various options for paying the people that work for you. And this in particular is referring to virtual-based team members, you know, contractors, freelancers, etc. I'm not talking specifically here about employees. But this is a question that I get quite a bit. And I know there's kind of various options out there that you may see or you may have heard of or run into yourself. So I just wanted to run through essentially the three ways that you could be working with your team members and how you could be paying them. So number one is paying somebody by the hour, right? And very simple, very straightforward. It takes somebody X amount of time to do the work. You're going to pay them an hourly rate for however long it takes them to do the work. You know, this is the simplest and the most common starting place, if you will, for a lot of contractor type arrangements out there. You know, and of course, depending on the person in your business, quite honestly, this can be the best option for you. You know, if you have somebody who's a doer for you, a virtual assistant, or, you know, they're responsible for getting this done and getting that done and so on, an hourly rate can be really, really great. But I have to tell you one thing with the hourly rate that I personally am not a fan of is, and I can say this from both sides of the coin, right? At the end of the day, different people will get things done in a different time frame. And you may hire somebody where it takes person A 2 hours to do something, but person B, it takes them 3 hours to do something, right? And at the end of the day, they're both giving you the same thing. You know, I mean, from the perspective of you as the person hiring and adding to your team, that's not fair. You know what I mean? So, you know, it happens, so be it, but it's something to consider. And likewise, too, when for having been on the other side of the coin, of course, having worked behind the scenes in businesses and worked for various clients, you know, back in the day, when I was doing work with that, I hated charging by the hour. Because quite honestly, you guys, I'm darn quick at what I do. You know, I was darn quick at what I do. So if I was to charge by the hour, I would have ended up getting paid less, you know, by this compared to this person or that person. But also too, it's like having to track time on both sides of the coin can really get in the way. You know, it's hard for people to track time. It's hard for people to track every little nitty-gritty thing. Likewise, you as the business owner, when you're paying somebody by the hour, you always have to be considering, you know, how long is this going to take? You and the person you're working with really need to keep in touch as far as here's where we're at, here's how many hours are going to be used, here's what we have left, etc., etc. Right? So it's definitely the simplest, most straightforward way to work with people, but it does have that layer of kind of complexity that comes into play there as well too. So the second option for working with people is to pay a package rate. And a package rate is based on a specific deliverable. So this scenario only works when there's a very, very clear deliverable. I am hiring you to do my website. You are going to give me a website that has A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and there you go, right? You don't care how long it takes them to do the work. You don't care what goes on behind the scenes. You know, you want it done in a specific time frame, but if it takes them 20 or 40 hours, who cares? Kind of thing, right? You know that you're going to get X and that you're going to pay X amount of dollars for it. And a package rate, of course, I'm a huge fan of that option where it makes sense to do so because it just takes all that kind of confusion out of it. You know, it doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter that this or that is going on and so on, right? Like you have clarity on what you're paying, what you're getting. The person that you're working with has clarity on what they're delivering and what they're going to get paid for that. Right? So package rates are definitely a really nice option if and where it makes sense to do so. But again, that only makes sense when there's very specific and clear deliverables. To just say, you know, hey, I'm going to hire you to do whatever needs to be done. You know, it's kind of hard to put a package rate around that. Now, the third option is incentive. And incentive, or commission, if you will, basically comes into play when somebody's plugged into your business in a way that affects the overall growth and results of your business, right? When it affects your income, when it affects your revenue, when it affects reaching certain milestones and achieving certain goals and such in the business. So when you're working with somebody who is playing in your business at that level, this is where something like incentive can come into play. And just to be really clear what incentive is, it's usually made up of two parts. It's usually made up of a base rate of some kind, that you're paying that person, you know, kind of a flat rate for the work that they're doing. And then it's also based on an incentive. And the incentive could be a percentage, it could be a percentage of revenue, it could be a percentage of profit, it could be a flat rate bonus for reaching certain milestones, etc. You know, the specifics of what that can look like, of course, will vary from situation to situation. But the thing that's really great about incentive is that both you and the people you're working with get to put a little bit of skin in the game, right? So for example, if you're hiring a launch manager and they're going to manage a launch for you, right? If you would most likely, in most cases, you're going to be paying them a base rate of some kind. And I like to say the base rate needs to be enough to keep them hungry. You know, if you're going to pay them like, you know, thousands upon thousands of dollars for the work that they're doing, then the base rate, you know, then incentive on top of that. It's kind of like, what's the incentive there for them? You know, what's really going to get them really plugged in and engaged to truly help have an impact on your business, right? To truly help have an impact on the growth. So of course that will vary from person to person and scenario to scenario, but there's generally going to be a flat rate of some kind, a retainer, a base pay, etc. And then real clarity of the idea of, okay, if we hit this goal, and or this goal, there's an incentive, there's a bonus, there's a percentage or whatever that comes into play. Likewise, similar things can happen when you're hiring someone like an online business manager. And of course, in the work that we do in our OBM training and certification, as well as when I talk to people about this, you know, when you have somebody plugged into your business who's working with you day in and day out, and who's there to really help ultimately support the growth of the business, that's another scenario where incentive can come into play. Because here's the thing, you want to have a base rate. I'm a huge fan when you're working with an OBM, you guys, where it makes sense to do so. And, you know, I just want to say as a caveat, not everybody agrees with me here. You know, some people really like to pay hourly for this role. Other OBMs like to be paid hourly for this role. So ultimately it's a choice, right? But I can tell you again from my own personal experience, when somebody's plugged in to manage your business day in and day out, if you're having to worry about hours and tracking hours and how long is it going to take this for this and that and whatever, that just really gets in the way. You know, when you can set it up where here's a flat base incentive, you know, here's a flat rate, a base that you're going to get paid each and every month. I don't care if you're working this many hours or this many hours. You know, in some months it may be more, in some months it may be less. But that as the business grows and as you continue to reach certain milestones and hit certain financial goals and all kinds of stuff, then this person can get paid more based on that, right? So they have skin in the game with you as well. So you know that they're dedicated to your business. They're not just looking to like put in the time and get paid the dime. I don't know, I just made that up. Totally rhymes, that's hilarious. But you know, then you know that they have skin in the game with you. And likewise from their perspective, you know, it's really exciting when somebody's working with you at this level in your business. It's really exciting to them to know that they can pour their heart and soul into work that they do with you. And when you're working with the right person and it's the right connection, that's what they're going to do. Right? And they know that as the business continues to grow, that they get to, that their income and that they can potentially make more money as certain milestones are reached. Right? So I personally think that's a really, really great way to work with people. But again, it's only going to apply to certain situations. You know, when somebody's plugged into your business in a way that they can really help impact the growth. So they could be a salesperson, you know, the launch manager, the OBM, whatever that is. Specifics around that, of course, will vary from person to person. And ultimately, it's up to you. You know, it's up to you at the end of the day. But I really just wanted to give you some clarity on what those options are. You can be paying people hourly. You can be paying people package. You can be paying people a base plus incentive of some kind. And part of what I love about the world that we live in today is that, you know, one of those scenarios, one of those three is going to really fit and work for you. You know, just give some thought to it if you haven't before and get really clear. And you may even want to talk to some of the people you're working with already and just see and make sure, is this fit? Is this the best fit? Is this the best way to work together and so on? Right? And honestly, if you're interested in more about this isn't a topic that I've ever kind of officially taught on, but I'm thinking I might do like a quick little workshop or something on this if you guys are interested. So maybe just share in a comment or something below if this is something you'd like to go deeper with. Ultimately, as you're looking at the way you work with your team and how you build your business. And of course, comments and various things and everything as well are always welcome here too. So I know this video is longer than my promised 3 minutes that I was aiming to stick to, but I hope it's been helpful and I know I get a lot of questions on this. So until next time, take care. Bye now.